Alright, so if you guys have been following me on Facebook and you've seen that I've kind of gotten on a kick working on the Mustang again here for a little bit, thank you very much, Curt, because you helped me out tremendously with this. You guys saw my last video, which wasn't me speaking. I just walked around the car, it's a little bit of music, it's playing really fast, and it's pointing out all the disaster that this car came back as. When it first went out to paint, it was running, all set, good to go. With the fuel injection system on it, everything was great. All it needed was to be painted and then put on the trim pieces and all that stuff and drive it around. A couple of little tidy up things under the hood just to make things look nice and get some gauges inside the interior run. But overall, the car ran, it drove, it stopped, everything functioned, you turned the key. It was a working vehicle at that point. I sent it out to paint. If you guys look back at the history on any of these videos, you'll see it's been a very long time that it was going through that process. All these guys watch too many reality TV shows, and they all have to put their name on it, so they won't take any work that you've already done. They all have to redo it all themselves. First, you guys did a really terrible job even trying to prep it, and part of them just ghosted and disappeared, and I had to go find and reclaim my car. So yeah, that was awesome, but it's back. I have it again. Sent it out to the last guy after another buddy of mine and me just hung out and made the car perfect body-wise. I mean, we spent so long getting all the edges nice and sharp, not thin, but sharp. Getting all the body lines right, smoothing the hood, smoothing everything. So this thing was, I mean, we spent so long working day after day on this thing, making it look right. Sent it out to this guy, JB, we'll call him. Those are his initials. Because he wanted to put his name on it. I'm going to call him out in video fully, even though I feel like I want to. Not going to do it. JB is enough. If you are in the circle, you'll know who he is. Said he's going to put his name on it, so he's got to do all the work himself. So he tears down all the good work that we did and returned it as that mess that you guys saw it as. Now, I can't say for sure that he's the cause of all the other issues. He is the cause for all the overspray under the hood, too, because he didn't plastic anything off under there. It's just a disaster. Anyway, you saw it in the other video. I'm going to get off of that for now. But the project's been delayed for a very long time. I don't know about you, but I just got the wind knocked out of my sails with it. When you build a car, it's done, it's right, it's ready to go, and then you get it back, and everything that you've done now needs to be redone, and then even more on top of that. I mean, sensors were robbed off this thing, all kinds of stuff. The list just goes on and on and on of just ridiculous nonsense. But we're back at it. So thank you again to Curt, because he came over and helped me get the wiring here reset and all tuned up, and it looks beautiful now. It functions, which is far more important than anything how it looks. It functions well. It's right. Fuel gauge works. Fuel pump works. It all turns on and off with the key with a relay. Got the fan on a switch because it doesn't need to be on all the time. I might thermostat that later, but for now it's on a switch. It's fine. So going through, I have a gauge. If you guys have seen the Facebook or the Instagram or anything like that, it's a, I don't even know what it is here. Let's see. Also, it looks like a Mr. Gasket gauge or something. Fluid filled fuel pressure gauge. And it's shit. Absolute shit. We'll get you a close up of that really quick to look at it. So this thing would read 1 psi and then another, and I had a carburetor on here, and I seriously thought the carburetor was a problem. I'm a little second guessing it now, but I'm not going back. I already have the new carb, and the new carb is better. It holds better pressure because it was able to stop the pressure that's coming at it already and run perfectly fine without me even adjusting the fuel pressure at all, right? It just runs, it works well, and it posted a lot higher fuel pressure on the gauge, but I can't touch the gauge. So what I have here is a fuel pressure testing kit you can get from your local auto parts store, AutoZone, Advanced, stuff like that. You don't have to go anywhere fancy. That's where I got mine. And I'm going to use this to set the fuel pressure where it should actually be. So that'll be nice. I'm going to set it to its maximum pressure allowable without lifting the floats and doing blow by. Before I turn the car on, I'm going to start it up, see where it's at idle, if it fluctuates at all, and we're going to make sure that it's as high as I can be, because I'm not going to be able to monitor this really rolling down the road, at least with the setup I currently have, right? I can't bring this really inside the car with me plumbing the way anything's set up, and once we have that set, it should be pretty consistent. So I'm going to keep a gauge under the hood, not this one. I'm going to ditch this one, but so we're going to get that set up. That's on the mission for today. Second mission for today is to address the starter. New wiring for the starter and everything. Check this out. I don't know why these things ended up this way, but I'm going to go right here. So, where's the old cord? Yeah, there it is. Yes, I'm back. So here we go. This is ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous. See the size of the hole in this thing? I don't know if you can really tell in the video, but let me put this one on. See the size of the hole in that? Woo, right? Like you can see how it makes it much smaller. So this is a much smaller hole. This is, it doesn't matter what size is there. This is the proper size for our solenoid, and it is the proper size to attach to the starter. This is a giant gaping mess. This is also 4-AUG wire, and gone. 2-AUG. So this should be pretty Captain Overkill to run to the starter. So we should be good with this. I have to get the end on the other side, but I'm going to plumb this around because it has to clear the headers with plenty of room. And so I'm going to get it put in there nicely, and we'll finish making that wire. New starter, new solenoid to go with it. New carburetor, new all kinds of stuff since our last video. Had to ditch the fuel injection system. A lot of my other videos showed me tuning it, and we're sitting there at a nice, beautiful 13.5 idle, which is a really good place to be on an F303 cam. Unfortunately, that fuel injection unit no longer holds a tune. I can get in there, tweak it, tune it, and it always goes back to a mystery state afterwards. It's just like brand new, like you never did anything at all. It happens every time you turn the key off. So, yeah, useless. Before anybody pipes in with, well, you should hook some kind of constant power up to it so it'll keep the tune. No, I'm not going to drain the battery. What if the battery dies? So I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and God forbid battery takes a crap. I have to tune the car before I drive it home. Ridiculous. Power Injection 3 is the unit. These guys had such a bad run with these things that they even shut down their own forums because people were complaining so much. And then, you know, people have great experiences with them too. So my experience, I don't know what happened to it, so I'm not mad at them. It could be a bum unit. It could be that something happened to it while it was out on one of these adventures with the car getting destroyed. So yeah, so got rid of that. Went to a carburetor that spewed gas out the front and still lean popped out the back. Could be because the fuel pressure was wrong, because I'm trying to set it using a gauge that is absolute garbage. So it could have been overrunning the carburetor and flooding one side of the engine while not getting any fuel to the other side whatsoever. That is a complete possibility. I admit that, and I threw a carburetor at it because I was done chasing problems. In the end, the new carburetor did solve that issue. Whether or not the fuel pressure is right, we're about to find out here with the tester, but it did solve the issue. I think I've rambled on enough here complaining about what happened with the car and telling you where we're at. So I'm going to dive into it. We'll give you a couple clips there, and hopefully at the end of this, with the new starter, the new wiring, the new carburetor, everything that we've gone and put in this, actually getting the fuel pressure set right, new battery, all of that, hopefully we'll be able to start it up again at the end of this video. Shiny. For anybody watching this, if you're trying to figure out how to do this, I'm not really doing an instructional video, but the bolts are 9/16 here, if that helps you out. All right, so the fuel pressure tester they gave me, which is universal, has the fit-ups for, or the fittings for, carbureted stuff too, is in fact really a EFI fuel pressure tester, as you can see here. Really little tiny area there for me to try and see and guess what measurement that exactly is. Not going to get really accurate with that kind of sway, right? So yeah. Looks about right. It was at, in fact, I'm guessing on this. I mean, it's so hard to tell because the slits are, this is obviously not for a carburetor, right? Just way fuel injection. So, but looks kind of accurate maybe. Got right down here, and I know, don't mind the missing hose clamp right there. I'm aware the kit was a little short and I don't have any more, so it is what it is for right now. But I'm at about 6. Maybe 6.5 the most. Seeing where we're sitting, it's kind of hard to get you guys the same angle there that I have, but just over 6. And Edelbrock states that, at least from what I found on the web, because of course it wouldn't say in the manual, Edelbrock states that 6.5 is the maximum you should ever run, and I'm just under that instead of about 7 where the gauge pointed originally, and this gauge hasn't moved much. It shows well below 10, so still a crapshoot. I got the tools that I have, so there we are. All right, so the new starter's in, new wires on, went from 2 gauge from 4 gauge, and let's see what happens. Oh, it definitely spins over faster now. It runs. I drove it. I went around the block. I went to get gas, put gas in it. It ran. It started. It works. Hot, cold. Turn the key. She goes. Cranks a little hard still. Once she's warmed up, that's probably a timing issue there for that last little bit, but way better than what it was before. So worth it for the starter, worth it for the new thicker wire, I believe. That was just a little bit of effort. Very, very cheap. So definitely worth the time investment there. Finally got that stupid oil filter off. Screwdriver, pliers, hand in man card, call someone stronger, they come, and take 10 minutes still to try and get it off. So I don't actually feel as bad about that as I originally did when I called my buddy John. I was like, hey, can you come give me a hand? Because you have the strongest grip of anyone that lives close to me that I know. So it took him 10 minutes, and he also did the screwdriver thing and the pliers thing, and then finally got it off with the pliers after a lot of noise under the car. So thank you, John, for that, because there's no way that's coming off with the muscle that I have right now and those pliers. I was just tearing that filter up. So found a home for the filter, found a home for the old carburetor, found a home for that fuel injection unit that wouldn't keep a tune. And now we have a running Mustang. Some kinks to work out and a lot of polishing to do on the paint and some interior bits to put together. But yeah, I feel way better. I think tomorrow I'm gonna order up some tires. Thanks for joining me.